Council members: Jeannie Bushy, Joey Snide, Ronnie Labarge, Herbert Terrian. Others present: Deputy Supervisor Ellen Montgomery, Highway Superintendent Fred Terrian. The notice of the public hearing appeared in the Press Republican on 10/27/2012. Supervisor Ross reviewed the budget with those present. There were no comments made in favor of or against any item therein contained. Motion to close the public hearing by Herb, seconded by Ron. The vote was all ayes. Respectfully submitted, Carol Relation, Town Clerk. The regular town meeting, date November 8th, 2012, time 7:20 p.m. at the Altona Town Hall, Altona, New York. Supervisor Ross called the meeting to order following the public hearing. Members of the council and others present are in attendance as previously noted. Minutes of the October 15th, 2012 were read and accepted. Motion by Joey, seconded by Jeannie. The vote was all ayes. Resolution number 66, preliminary budget to adopted 2013 budget. Motion by Ronnie, seconded by Jeannie. The motion was adopted. To accept the preliminary budget as the adopted budget for 2013. Vote all ayes. Resolution number 67, Board of Assessment appointment. Motion by Joey, seconded by Ronnie. The motion was adopted. The board has reappointed Marie Bulris to the Board of Assessment Review Board for a 5-year term beginning 10/1/2012 and ending 9/30/2017. Motion adopted. Vote all ayes. Resolution number 68, Supervisors Report. Motion by Jeannie, seconded by Ronnie. The motion was adopted. To accept the Supervisors Report as presented. Vote all ayes. Resolution number 69, Approval of Bills. Motion by Joey, seconded by Herb. The motion was adopted. To pay the bills as presented. General Fund, $3,027.24. Highway Fund, $7,180.23. Streetlight District Number 1, $998.75. Streetlight District Number 21, $193.71. The total, $11,399.93. Vote all ayes. Motion to adjourn by Ronnie, seconded by Joey. Vote all ayes. Respectfully submitted, Carol Relation, Town Clerk.
Motion on that. Make a motion, accept the minutes of the red.
I'll second it.
And a vote please, Herb?
Yes.
Jeannie?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
Ronnie?
Yes.
Joey?
Yes.
Okay, number one on the agenda, Clinton County Office of Emergency Services. They've gotten together with Friends of the North Country to go over, it's the Clinton County Office of Emergency Services and Clinton County Planning Department contracted with Friends of North Country Incorporated to assist with a 5-year update of the 2007 multi-jurisdictional pre-disaster hazard mitigation plan. You can say that all in one vote. Participation by all jurisdictions in the county will ensure compliance with FEMA guidelines for the plan update. Now, one of the sessions is going to be presented in Clinton County Emergency Services Building at 10 a.m. on January 4th, and then at 1:30 right here in Altona Town Hall. So you can pick one. If you're busy in the afternoon, you can go to that other one in the morning. But it's January 4th, and the Altona one's at 1:30, the other one's at 10.
What days that fall on, Larry?
Oh, boy.
Oh,
I
okay.
don't know. I don't have a calendar.
That's
right
okay.
with me.
I thought you
I do have a calendar. with me, though.
no,
Maybe that-
2012.
Yeah, right,
The 4th is on a Friday.
not a Friday.
Thank you.
All right. And with that, they have all kinds of forms to fill out here. Existing community development, land use zoning plans, please list. Future projects with estimates to mitigate disasters in town. For example, they gave replace 3 culverts on Rand Hill Road from West Plattsburgh to Morrisonville. That's just an example of something you can put in there. Maybe you can help me with some of the things if you have some that have to be replaced. I don't know, to me, I don't think that has any bearing on what we're going to do. They've all been replaced, haven't they, Fred? All the
Yeah.
culverts and stuff, we don't really, we're in pretty good shape, I think, here as far as that goes, but we gotta go through the process here, so. Past natural hazards, floods, severe storms, earthquakes, landslides, that kind of thing is what we gotta need plan for. We did a plan in 2007, right? So it's just an update of that. I started doing some of the forms, but I might have to tap some of the other resources here to get some more answers. So I don't know all the different things. But that's just for information. Time Warner Cable, I've written saying how they like having to do business with us, and their contract runs out, it needs to be renewed by the 2015 September 11th, and they want us to know that they're interested in renewing it. And so, that's also for information. Anybody have any comments on any of those, like the cable company or anything? New England Waste Services, they sent us a notice that the rates are going up. And said we would like to provide advance notice of the following fee increases for Clinton County Landfill and the Morris Transfer Station, which will become effective January 1st, 2013, described in section 10 of the September 5th, 1996 OMLA and County Resolution number 159 dated February 13th, 2008. Provisions for these price increases are as follows. Schuyler Falls current and county tip fee will go from $61.27 a ton to $62.33 a ton. Out of county, $73.58 a ton to $74.85. Out of county tip fee for C&D construction demolition is for $84.07 a ton to $85.52 a ton. And then the minimum scale fee per load to $20, minimum load 640 pounds. And then Moore's transfer station will go from $80.58 a ton to $81.97, and $20 for a minimum truckload of 480 pounds. So that was just to let you know that they're going up in case you get asked by somebody. All right. Take that paper out of here. Next says health insurance. This past month was like a nightmare for Carol. Her health insurance, they canceled it. And we said, well, what do you mean we canceled? We called up and they said, well, don't worry about it, just hang on. But we hung on, well, nothing happened, except she got notices saying it was canceled. And so when she told me, I got on the phone with them to find out what the story was. And we got conflicting stories, but at any rate, what had happened back in May, I think it was May, I think one of our first big storms, our payment was late, got cut two together in it, so it was a late payment. And this was the second one. I don't know what happened out of it. They're saying it's a difference in billing cycles, but for whatever reason, we're not a month ahead, so if our board meeting falls on the wrong date, they expect it by the 1st, so when it's in the middle of the month like that, it gives them trouble, so they think we're always late. So they explained that to me that, this was the second time, and I said, well, it was sent out, so we talked back and forth, and the girl told me, well, if I read a letter explaining how I can prevent it from happening ever again, that kind of thing, that they reconsider. So I wrote the letter and said that we would pay a month ahead, so that, when we're always a month ahead no matter what happens. So they reinstated it. And then trying to get them to do it on paper was the next thing. She had a doctor's appointment. I overnighted the money to them, and a week went by, they still said they didn't have it. Well, apparently the woman failed to mention that I was supposed to send it to a different address than we normally send it to. So then it goes into a Dropbox. Well, it took a week for them to dig it out of there. So we were sweating. She was having problems. She had her medicine, her doctor's appointments were coming, and no way to pay for it, so. At any rate, we got it just in the nick of time, and now we're a month ahead, and hopefully that's the end of the story with that. But it was kind of a scary situation. It was very scary for me, because I thought, oh, how the heck, I didn't want her to go missing her doctor's appointments and not having her medicine, and I didn't know what I could do about it, so we did get it done. Unfortunate thing that happened, but hopefully it's taken care of now. Town insurance, I wanna go out to bid again. I don't know what happened to Lattimores, they aren't working there anymore, so.
No, I heard that.
So, when you call somebody, you get somebody out of Texas. And our claim from the break-in, we still haven't got any money from them. That never happened before, they were right on top of it, we used to get it right off the bat. We still haven't got anything from it, they're still holding us up. I'm not pleased with the service we get, so I wanna go back out to bid very next opportunity and try to get somebody, well, see what happens anyways, but my idea is to put us back out to bid and let everybody back in the mix.
Either one of them guys are in the business now.
No, nothing. And that's all of a sudden, because they were, and they said nothing's gonna change, everything's gonna be the same, and all of a sudden, nothing. Nothing's the same, ever, they're gone. And I never heard from him. I kept trying to get hold of Curtis, they said his number wouldn't work, and then they called the office, well, he doesn't work here. I said, well, what the heck happened to him? So, I don't know, he's not working anymore. So that's town insurance, we'll try to go out to bid on that. I think in your package you have these next two papers from the Department of the Army. And there are permits that Clinton County had asked for the Old State Road Bridge to be removed, and also for the Powerhouse Road Bridge to be removed. And they've both been okayed by the Army Corps. And I've been trying to find out, what the holdup was, and before they said, well, that won't happen for a long time kind of thing, until they found out it was just tearing them out. Then they restated, well, it can happen anytime between now and next summer, but now that it's torn out, well, now they have their permits, so whenever they got free people and stuff, they can start on. So that's both the bridges. And it tells what they're, a little bit about what they're planning on doing, as far as the bank or someplace where it say that. The removal of an existing bridge superstructure over the Great Chazy River, the removal of the bridge piers from the river, and the discharge of 400 cubic yards of heavy stone fill materials along the total of 255 linear feet of the banks of the river, approximately 175 linear feet on the east bank and 80 linear feet on the west bank. And this one's for which one?
The Powerhouse.
That's the Powerhouse one. And the other one, yeah. And this one, the other one they're doing, removal of an existing bridge superstructure over the Great Chazy River, removal of the bridge abutments and damaged concrete slab stabilization structures from the river. The discharge of 400 cubic yards of heavy stone fill material along the total of 300 linear feet of the banks of the river, approximately 150 linear feet on each bank, below its ordinary high water mark for bank stabilization. The dredging of approximately 150 cubic yards of accumulated sediment from the river, and the discharge of approximately 50 cubic yards of dredged sediment to fill a scour hole in the bed of the river. All to facilitate the restoration of areas damaged by flooding caused by the storms. So that's what they're gonna try to do.
They don't give any
Excuse me?
kind of a date, though.
No, the way he explained it to me, it'd be whenever they have people freed up and machinery and
Freed up.
everything. Elmore SPCA, they sent a contract, I want to try to negotiate again with Moore's first, before we accept it, and we don't have to accept it till January. Is that all right with the board to go and see if we can satisfy Moore's? I know I asked him for the quote there, but I want to see what, it's so much more convenient to go with Moore's if it works out. Well, the next thing is Association of Towns, they have that meeting there that a lot of people go to. It's $115 per person to take the bus, that's minimum. If they don't get enough people, it's more than that. And then, of course, you got motels and whatever down in Bristol. What the heck is it here? In New York City, they got motels and whatnot. I know, like in Plattsburgh and stuff, it costs these people upwards of $1,000 each to go to these things. And to me, if you're gonna go down and spend $1,000 taxpayers' money, you better come back with some pretty good stuff to hand back or to pay back what you go for. But it is open to people that wanna go, and it's February 17th and February 20th. It's something you want. Office of Real Property is next. We checked with Chris Blair's been taking these classes, and he thought he had everything he needed, and so we're talking back and forth with the state on this to make sure he did, and lo and behold, he doesn't have, but and so they reviewed the application and qualifications review of Chris Blair as you requested to determine whether or not he meets the minimum qualification standards for sole appointment assessor. The minimum qualification standards for sole appointed assessors are set forth section 188-2.29 New York CRR rules for real property tax administration. A person such as Mr. Blair with a 4-year college degree has the highest level of education completed needs 6 months of satisfactory full-time paid experience in an occupation involving the evaluation of real property described below. So, as I checked into that, I stopped down to county to check into it to see, it seemed pretty extreme, but what we'd have to do is we'd have to send him in as a assessment control examiner. That would be his title. I have to write letters and we have to cut and paste here what his duties are. And then he would be hired at 6 weeks full-time to work out of here. And at the end of that time, he would be all right.
Did you say, at first I thought you said 6 months.
6 months, I'm sorry, did I change it? It's a 6 month, 6 months of satisfactory full-time paid experience. So I talked to the personnel department, and that's what they said. It would have to go to the list, but when you're talking about driving to Altona from one of these other towns for the amount of money that it's gonna be paid in a full-time position of no less than 30 hours a week, probably not a lot of people are gonna wanna drive for that. So that's what we have to do to comply. I wrote the letter. During that time, he can also take some classes that then become eligible for classes that the state's given and that kind of thing. So he's looking at a little time yet, in which we're not ready anyways, but I just want to make sure it's okay with the board for him to march on in this direction. I haven't talked to him even on this because I just found out. If it's all right with the board for him to try to go ahead with this if he agrees to it on a full-time basis.
I thought he had already taken all of the courses. I mean, I
He
understand
did.
the 6 months experience, but I thought he already had all the courses.
All the courses that he's eligible for. He's not eligible for the others until
He has to have the 6
he's
months
getting paid. He's gotta be,
experience.
he's got, during the six months, he can take these other classes, which then he becomes eligible for. And that's the ones like Johnny was talking about, I don't remember the name of it now. There are classes that Chris said, well, they don't exist. Well, they do, but they're on the state instead of that Balfour that he was going through. And there's 2 different places, so that's what.
They weren't showing up as requirements on the list.
Because he
was
wasn't
using.
eligible. He wasn't eligible to take them yet. So is it all right with the board to?
So there's a time that he's already worked that doesn't count? Are we paying him now?
No,
Oh, we're not paying him now?
he was just
So-
working toward it.
Okay, so he has to come to work here full time?
Yeah, it'd be no less than 30 hours a week.
What, how much will we have to pay then?
It would be the same amount of money we're paying right now. He would take 11,000 of Johnny's money and put toward that. And, so it wouldn't cost us any more than we're paying out.
Right.
I talked to John about it, and he was in favor of it. So,
So where does it stand with what Danielle's making as
She
the
would
clerk?
lose that one.
She'll lose the 11,000.
She would lose 11 that she's getting for John, doing the clerk's job for John. It would go toward whoever's gonna be in there. And he'd have to do that work that she was doing,
Right.
plus other stuff that Johnny had for him. There's quite a lot of stuff, I guess, to do, so. So everybody all right with that?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. So I'll talk to Chris tomorrow probably and try to get that straightened out. I got a letter from Niles and Bracy, it's an attorney that's working with Jim Van Arman about this dirt that was missing from his property. I thought somewhere along the line, and I've talked so many times and did so much work on those windmills that I thought somewhere that it spelled out exactly what they had to put back in the soil and stuff, but I can't find it anywhere in writing. We've been through papers and the vault and everywhere else. So I told him that we'd cooperate, you know, he's welcome to whatever we have, but I can't really find much of worth having.
We have two local laws that we did in 2006, and I've read them thoroughly again, and anything in there pertains an agreement just between the town and Noble. There is no mention of any of the property owners in any of these.
No.
So we can't find anything anywhere.
I think where it's going to be is between Noble and the individual, they have an agreement, and I think that's where they're gonna find it, because I don't know as I have it. I'm gonna keep looking, but I don't know as I have anything that tells exactly, you know, how much topsoil they're gonna put back on and stuff. I remember talking about it, but I don't know if it was a meeting with the landowners, or if it was Noble, or what, CRA, or who it was, and I've looked through all the paperwork that so far, I still got some I can look through, but
I thought
anyways.
Noble's lawyers, when they were here, that, when it first started out, that they were gonna put it back as was.
It says that, but that's all it says. It doesn't specify I'm putting 6 inches of topsoil or 2 inches of
Right.
topsoil, or, you know, I don't know if anybody else knows anything about it, if you're landowners, but,
Right.
I think the agreement with the landowners, they must have something in writing that said what they're gonna do to the property. I hope they can go by that. But, so they're still arguing over the topsoil anyway. And, the law you sent me, Joe, the exception to competitive bidding, I read through that. I don't see where it really changes a whole
Well,
lot.
it's a new subdivision, which basically expands the state contract procedure that's already followed in the state. I think we obtain goods and services through the county contract as well.
Right.
This expands this to the United States government contracts or any agency of the government, which might be quite substantial. I don't know where we would, find access to those lists,
Right.
but that does seem to expand the exception to the competitive bidding law.
Because when I read through it, it didn't seem to be much different than what we're doing already.
Right, I mean, we basically, in recent years, we've been using the county contracts now. But previous to that, there was always an exception to the competitive bidding requirement under 103 of the general municipal law, which of course is the state contract prices.
Well, it's a whole process, and I really think if the government would keep their nose out, it would make it a whole lot easier for
Well, but in this
people to do
case,
so.
though, if the United States negotiates contract, it's probably gonna be countrywide, whereas a state contract only pertains to the state or the political subdivisions of the state,
So it would take a while for it to really help us, I think. Huh?
Well, I mean, it seemed to me that the prices negotiated across the United States, if it applies to every state in the union, would, you get a better price than you
Yeah.
would on a state contract.
If you can get some,
I mean, I don't know, I have not heard where you would obtain a list for materials and equipment purchased through the federal government contracts. I don't know where you get that,
Yeah.
but this is something new, and I'm hoping that that information will become available.
okay, well,
We'll
hopefully,
see if it benefits. I mean, they must have thought that it would.
yeah, to about doing it, you know, to about it passing, I think. What's next on here? Land auction for the properties that we didn't pay taxes on up here, went through, pretty much as planned. It didn't seem to be a big deal. There were people bidding on, and all got sold. I mean, what they bid on, or what they had up, all sold, so. Right at this time, the Yankas are in court over the fact they said that no one had a right to tax them, that it was their property kind of thing. Same story, so that'll have to be dealt with in court, and then the people that bought it they're holding their money in escrow until it's settled, and then they'll get all sorted out from there. I don't think they're gonna lose any money if it all goes awry. They're gonna give their money back to them. And they didn't make as much. I think they made $125,400 instead of the 300 and some thousand that was owed, but at any rate, people did bid, and it did get sold. Some real good deals. We'll go through. Somebody got some good deals.
Question for that golf course.
Yeah, 20,000. The farm, too, that was $300,000 assessment, went to 50. Those were the two big items, I guess. But some of those properties went for $500 for 72 acres.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Joe bought most of that.
I was ready in case they didn't bid on it. I wanted somebody to bid, because supposedly they can't build the town of Altona as long as they got bids on it. So that was my goal. I didn't want any of it, but I wanted somebody to bid. So I put my money down there in case, and somebody did bid, so I didn't have to do it. We got a thing here today from Ellenberg is having a public hearing. This is the purpose of this letter is to advise you that a public hearing will be held on December 18th at 6 o'clock at the Town Hall in Ellenberg regarding local law number 2 of the year 2012 entitled "A Local Law Regulating the Siting of Wireless Telecommunications Facilities." And attached is a copy of said local law, so anybody that wants to go listen to that all over again, they're gonna have one. And, who knows, you want this, Carol, do you need this?
Yep. Yeah, I'm taking the file. Yeah, sure.
Okay. Anyone have anything to bring up for the board? Oh, one more thing I got thinking. I got called from John Beach regarding the dump site up here, and apparently someone has told him that the land couldn't be used for that, and I just wanted to clarify that with the board members in case you heard the same story. This is a copy of the deed that we got, and this paragraph says, "This property is set over to the town of Altona to make possible the establishment of recreational facilities in the town, and to make available to the town an area for promotion and development, or for such other uses as may prove beneficial to the economy and welfare of the town and its people." So, it isn't true that it was made to allow a recreational facility, which we have, but it was also for the benefit of the town, and they seem to think that was a poor place for it, some people, but that it would have been a perfect spot for our new town garage, but what they don't realize is that's as big as the lot can be because of the wetlands. They couldn't go any bigger. We cut it out as big as we could, and that's what we used it for. And I don't think it looks bad personally, but it does look bad to people, there's no change in your mind about that. But in the spring, I'd like to plant cedar trees along the roadside, and just leave out the 2 road openings and take care of that problem also if we can. So, just to let you know, because as board members, somebody's gonna say something, and that's in the deed, that we do have the right, the lot's not big enough for whatever else, so.
What was that dated for, that abstract you just said? Does that have a date on it? Is that like in the,
This was way back in the original, this was
so,
61, June 9th, 1961.
1961?
So, because I would imagine you guys would get asked to if it's out and about. I don't think there's that many upset about it.
No.
It's on our property now. I mean, Dean Lashley was nice enough to let us use that, and he needed it back. We were always paying lease on it. Now it's at least on our own property, and we're saving that amount of money per year, and,
Sure.
you know.
How much will we be saving?
Well, it's 2,500 lease, just to loan the lease, you know, about, you know, what other improvements you'd have to do sometime. It's
I
up,
think it'd be a good idea to do something cosmetic wise, though.
yeah, we'll plant the cedar trees around it and see. I don't really think it's gonna be bad. I mean, I know they're not done, they just got in there, but they'll put a fence around it, I would imagine, and when they do, put the trees on the inside of the fence, so the deer won't eat them, that kind of thing. And hopefully once they grow up, it'll look, you know, you won't even really see it then, so. That's that. Anybody else have anything for the board? Got anything going on, Fred? About your truck, you're rebuilding your truck
Well, we go to the front for the grader, that's allowing it, steel front,
on the grader,
yeah.
and then you're converting that truck into,
I would like to switch it over, we could put the box on it, plus a fifth wheel, design it where we can use it for 2 different things.
and they're building it all themselves, so you make it so you can take the box off, put the 5th wheel on, and then take that off, put the box back on when they need it, which is a good idea. And,
That grader part, they've been working hard on that.
yeah,
They did a good job, it looks factory built, saved a lot of money with that too.
for sure. They're doing a lot of.
Add something for our arsenal. Plowing, we don't need no snow.
All right.
Try it.
Speak too soon.
Somebody said Wednesday we might get a shot, I don't know. I don't know about that.
And they wanted 13,000 for that front, we built it for about 2.
Yeah,
That was pretty good deal.
that's a good,
So 1 inch and 3/4 inch steel, heavy.
probably better than what you buy anyways. If they don't build that.
When it's completed, it'll be,
You copy it off the county grader. So we have to back them from their grader.
And by doing that, we're gonna have to someday buy a bigger lowboy to put our paver on, but then we won't have to wait in line when we wanna pave, because we always have to borrow equipment to move our paper, so this way we won't have to do that any longer. Plus, it'll give us a truck that we can put stuff in the back of. These new trucks, they aren't really built for that, it messes up the back box on them. You can get the old truck to do it, and you're not screwing up all that money. Anyone else out there have anything? Okay, well,
Something just popped into my head.
oh, okay,
A couple of months ago when I was here, I think Doug Bowie brought up a subject on EMT that would incorporate us and Ellingburg Depot and Ellingburg Center.
well, that was an idea I had, but,
And I was wondering if you had any time to look into it to see the feasibility of it or not.
well, I've talked to a couple, but, they haven't had a supervisors meeting since, and I wanted to talk to the other towns. I mean, Greg and I talked about what you had suggested, talk to Lion Mountain and, or Denmore, was it?
Lion Mountain has their own
Lion Mountain.
setup, yeah.
And I think it's possible, But of course, it's a fire department thing, so I mean, it's
Right,
not,
I
it's
realize
just
that, yeah.
suggestions, it's not,
Right,
I'm not trying to push anything on the fire department. But maybe there would be a combination of, some money from the windmills in the future as they get their things paid for, plus maybe raise the tax a little bit in that department so that it can be paid for. I don't know, I mean, we're just looking into it now, so,
right.
but it's something to be very beneficial to everybody, and we'll keep working at it,
Yes, because during the day, you can't get any response here.
you know?
And at night, sometimes you can't get them then either, so.
Right. Well,
Being 20 miles from a hospital kind of puts us in a bind.
yeah, well, I'm working, I talked to Chris a little bit, I talked to, Greg had some great ideas, and I'll talk to the other towns and just see what's out there, and then we'll take it that way. And like I said, it's only suggestions from the town board
Right.
side, so it's not etched in stone, but
Right.
I think if we work together, we should be able to come up with something a little better than what we have, you know, hopefully, so. I haven't forgotten it, just that you
Yeah,
know,
right.
gotta take steps first, but. I guess that's it, as far as, that is supervisor's report is next.
Make a motion to accept the supervisor's report.
I'll second it.
And a vote, please. Ronnie?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
Jeannie?
Yes.
Herb?
Yes.
Joey?
Yes.
And we gotta pay the bills.
I'll make a motion, we pay the bills as presented.
Second.
And a vote, please. Ronnie?
Yes.
Joey?
Yes.
Herb?
Yes.
Jeannie?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes. This is the time of year when there isn't a lot on the agenda, but everybody's really busy anyway. I mean, everybody's really busy, but it isn't the type of thing where you have a lot to go over. As we're winding down on
Has there been any progress on town website?
yeah, little more movement. I don't know if there's any progress. That we are getting some movement on it at least, so hopefully. She just sent him a lot of our forms and stuff to put on there, so I mean, it's hard to, we can't push him very hard. I've tried to call him and get him going. We've sent him everything he's asked for, and the last part, of course, is gonna take him a while to get in there, I suppose. It should be operational here for soon. All right, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion. I'll second it.
And a vote, please. Larry?
Yes.
Jeannie?
Yes.
Herb?
Yes.
Ronnie?
Yeah.
Joey?